Welcome back to another explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really crucial topic, the strategic blueprint of enterprise cloud architecture. Now, if you spend any time around modern enterprise environments, you've definitely heard the term cloud architecture thrown around a lot, but there's actually a massive misconception about what it really entails. So in this explainer, we're going to look at the reality of enterprise cloud transformation programs. We'll share some practical lessons and uncover why true architecture is, honestly, far more than just deploying infrastructure.
I want to start off by asking a question, and I really want you to be honest with your own internal assessments here. Is your cloud architecture just an infrastructure map? So many organizations mistake architecture for simply provisioning compute, mapping out some subnets, and deploying services. Essentially, they're just clicking around a console. But treating your platform like a simple map of servers and wires, that is a dangerous trap. It completely misses what makes a cloud platform actually survive at an enterprise scale.
The idea that architecture is not only technical implementation, but rather a long-term operational strategy really anchors everything we're discussing today. And that hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It dictates how you handle governance models, how you manage your blast radius, and how you ensure operational reliability over time. So we're putting on our consulting hats today to break down why designing for scale and building for reliability is absolutely the only way to thrive in modern hybrid and native environments. Okay, so here's a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll cover beyond infrastructure deployment, the cost of weak architecture, pillars of operational maturity, driving velocity and productivity, an architectural maturity checklist, and finally, a long-term strategy. Let's dive right into Section 1, Beyond Infrastructure Deployment.
We constantly see tasks like infrastructure provisioning, networking configuration, and compute scaling mistaken for full architecture. And look, cloud platforms are amazing, right? Managed services and infrastructure as code let you provision a massive Kubernetes cluster in literally minutes. But here is the massive caveat. Deploying an EKS cluster quickly does not automatically give you a scalable or secure platform. Infrastructure alone? That's really just the plumbing.
Moving on to Section 2, the cost of weak architecture.
So let's contrast these two approaches. On one hand, you have the operational debt of weak architecture. When you try to scale without discipline, you get platform sprawl. You're dealing with shadow IT, manual patching, and severe configuration drift. Every team just kind of does their own thing, which results in these bolted-on security gaps and, those dreaded 3 a.m. pager alarms for broken deployments. No fun. But on the other hand, intentional architecture gives you standardized deployments and integrated security right from day one. It dramatically reduces uncertainty, which, honestly, is the secret sauce to scaling hybrid cloud environments without the whole thing falling apart.
Which brings us to Section 3, Pillars of Operational Maturity.
Good architecture essentially enables 6 interlocking pillars. First up, scalability, meaning your systems can grow seamlessly. Second is reliability. This means SRE operations and high availability are built in by design. Third, security, where least privilege access is at the absolute core. Fourth is governance, so compliance is embedded directly into your pipelines. Fifth, automation, using automation frameworks to eliminate toil and cut down on human error. And finally, cost optimization, making sure you're right-sizing resources. Together, these pillars are what allow enterprise environments to scale predictably.
I absolutely love this quote. Great architecture is invisible when it works, but critical when it doesn't. Think about a zero downtime deployment. Nobody really notices the underlying architecture because, everything just works seamlessly. But the very moment a massive traffic spike hits or an availability zone goes down, your automated incident response and those reusable components, they suddenly become the most critical assets your company has.
Let's transition to Section 4, Driving Velocity and Productivity.
A really overlooked aspect of cloud architecture is the developer experience. Poor architecture just creates massive friction, like troubleshooting undocumented APIs or constantly rebuilding CI/CD pipelines. But intentional architecture eliminates all of that. It empowers platform engineering teams to build true self-service platforms and establish clear golden paths for developers. By providing better abstractions and reasonable components, you aren't reinventing the wheel every single sprint. Engineering velocity absolutely skyrockets because your teams can actually focus on shipping business logic rather than wrestling with infrastructure. But to get that kind of velocity, architecture simply cannot exist in a silo. Modern cloud architecture is really a team sport. It requires deep collaboration across multiple domains. You need total alignment across your security teams designing controls, platform teams building pipelines, networking, and application teams. Architecture provides the shared framework that actually binds all of them together. Without this enterprise cloud operational consistency, you just end up with fragmented security models and, quite frankly, total chaos. Alignment is what drives real outcomes.
Let's look at Section 5, Architectural Maturity Checklist.
Let's use a quick checklist of benchmark where you might be today. First, look at your governance model. Are your policies embedded directly into the platform, or are you still relying on manual checks? For SRE alignment, do you have automated recovery, or does a system failure mean waking up an engineer in the middle of the night? For deployment standardization, are you using consistent patterns, or are you suffering from platform sprawl? And finally, security architecture. Is it built in, or just bolted on as an afterthought? Moving your operations from those weak manual models over to intentional automated models is the very definition of building enterprise-grade operational maturity.
Wrapping up with Section 6, a long-term operational strategy.
So, what are the key takeaways for ensuring your technology actually drives business value? Well, first, you have to think long-term. Second, build with purpose. Third, automate absolutely everything to create a strong foundation for scale. Fourth, implement strong observability patterns so you can continuously measure and iterate. And finally, enable business value. This is exactly why architecture must be treated as a long-term operational strategy instead of just a one-off infrastructure deployment project. I'll leave you with this final thought. Are you treating your cloud architecture as a one-time project or as an evolving strategic capability? Because if it's just a one-time deployment, you are basically signing up for years of operational debt. But by treating it as an evolving strategic capability, you lay the foundation for incredible engineering velocity, rock-solid reliability, and true enterprise scale. I really hope this explainer gave you the blueprint to rethink your cloud operations. Keep building with purpose, and I'll catch you next time.